Welcome back, and thank you again. I hope that you got value out of the last lesson, if you will, and probably got a lot more value out of the exercises in the book if you were able to read the book this week, or if you just started on that, book by Simon. I mean, it is a fantastic book, so, take your time with it. You are going to have another book assigned this week, but honestly, I put a book a week just to challenge you. My first boss, Donnie Williams, used to always say, it's better to have a target here for people and have them hit right here than it is to have a target right here and hit right here, because most people are going to fall short of a target, whatever it is that you hit. So just expect greatness out of people. And what's crazy is, like, expecting greatness out of people really allows them to rise to the occasion. How does it make you feel when somebody's like, oh yeah, you're late, and I figured you would be? You shouldn't be proud of that. I'm sorry, but and some people wouldn't say, like, oh, it is shaming, there's shame culture, don't shame anybody. Like, fuck you, you were late, you shouldn't be late, we agreed to be here on time. This is my time too that you're wasting, you know what I mean? Like, respect for people's time will give them respect for you, because they'll realize that you respect their time, and in turn they will respect yours. So just be on time and be respectful, and expect greatness out of people. And that's why I assigned a book a week, because I believe that if you chose this, then you're destined for great things, and you're headed for great things. And that's why you need to know that the old model of sales is not going to work for you. They used to talk about 10% of your time, closing the sale, and 10% of time presenting solutions, and 40% building relationships. You can look up these old models of sales, and the modern model of sales too. And the modern model of sales is, building rapport there's a lot more building rapport and more qualification, and then and closing and blah blah blah. And whatever model it is that they subscribe to, they're all wrong. You know what I mean? Both are wrong. And I'm sure you've probably heard always be closing. That is what this model is. The Canter Lane Sales model is always be closing, because we're thinking about the close from the very jump. You know what I mean? As soon as you meet somebody, you're closing them. And you've got to develop rapport on a conscious and subconscious level, because when it gets to the end of your presentation, if you've given just the most logical, incredible, presentation to somebody, and they're like, oh wow, yeah, that really makes sense. I have done that. I have sold with logic, and I was like, this is the thing for you because of XYZ. Can you see? And I ask them, does that make sense? Like, yeah. Like, okay, get your driver's license so we can run your credit. Like, oh, I need to think about it. Like, I didn't engage them, emotionally, and they weren't even listening to what I said, and they were just giving me false yeses. And that's what people will give you, is a false yes all day, every day. Because most people, you'll see, just want to be friends, but you want to always be closing. You always want to think about that is a potential client that you are gonna, that you're gonna end up closing. So route your trip through active listening and asking insightful questions, right? And steer the sales process, lead the conversation, and address objections. You'll know after a while of selling, and even before you start selling whatever product you have, you'll know the usual objections that people are going to use, and you can just work that into your presentation to be able to knock that out, before they even bring it up at the end. And that's part of it's part of qualifying too, and that's why you want to always be closing, because don't waste time trying to close somebody that can't be closed or shouldn't be closed. If you're trying to sell stock, a hot new stock on the stock market, and you get like some old lady that is giving up all of her money. She's on Social Security or disability or something like that, and doesn't have a pot to piss in, so to speak, because the cost of living has gone so high. Then maybe you shouldn't sell to that lady. I don't know. It'll be up to you, really. But that's where principles come in, and not values. And then guide them towards a decision with confidence. You want to be confident from step one. Knock out negatives early. We were just talking about this. And emphasize the value in solutions to overcome objections subtly. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Like, and a really easy way to do it is just to say, like, hey, a lot of people tell me blah blah blah, but, and you want to say but, that's when you want to say but, is when, when you're stating something that they would state to you, or that a customer has told you before. I've heard that your product is really hard to use. Oh, and so instead of waiting for them to say that to you, you say, like, there have been people that have found it difficult to use our program, but, and that's when you just have totally squashed that objection. They can't even bring it up at the end. And even if they do, you can just loop back to that, like, yeah, that's right. And I did mention earlier that there were people that had an issue finding it difficult, but we've incorporated this new system, or we have a 24-hour hotline to call, or we have video lessons online to know how to use whatever the product, service, or idea is, and build trust and rapport with the customer before diving into objections. If they say something along the way, say, hey, I hear you. Don't say I understand. Don't ever tell them that you understand. You don't understand shit about what they're saying. You don't know who they are or what they're going through. You hear them. You definitely hear them, and especially if they're going to say something that is negative, that's not going to, be a good point for you in your sale. You don't understand it. If they're saying something like, "Oh yeah, I want to get your product," like, yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. It's an amazing product, and you're going to get it. But you don't have to dive into an objection. Don't even meet an objection head on. Most of the time it's just a complaint, and be like, oh yeah, I hear you. Now that there are people that talk about that, but glaze over them as quickly as you can. And when you first meet someone, maybe I should have put this slide, lesson 1, week 1, number 1, but you have 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Most people say 4 or 3, right? But if it's in person, you have 1/24th of a second before they form some kind of an opinion of you, right? And it's make it count. Are you there to look salesy? What are you selling? If you're selling air conditioning, you want to sell from the perspective of a technician. You know what I mean? Because the technician, can give them peace of mind. Even if you only come out and you check hoses or something, if you don't know the product front and back at first, if you're selling an air conditioning unit, you wearing the gear of a technician is going to give you a lot better opportunity, because you're going to put peace of mind at that person. That's their emotional trigger. You know what I mean? That's that 1/24th of a second. They're going to look at you and they're going to be like, oh, he's not a salesman here to sell me an air conditioning unit. He's a guy that actually does air conditioners, and he knows what he's talking about. He's an expert in his field. And you're compartmentalized within 30 seconds. So, you want to be confident and professional. And attention to detail, tone, communication is crucial, right? And so they must believe in that time, in that 30-second window. And on the phone, you have, 4 seconds really. You have less time because they can't see you. They are building an image in their mind of your voice, of your tone, of who they think you are. Just based off of your voice, much like a lot of you are doing right now. If you haven't looked at a picture of me before, if you don't know what I look like, and you're just taking this course and you hear my voice, which would be strange because you probably found this through a funnel or a webinar, but in that first little bit that you are meeting or speaking to the person, oh, come on, asshole. You possess exceptional knowledge in your field. You are an expert in your field. You are enthusiastic about your product, but you're enthusiastic in general, enthusiastic to see them. You're excited. You're a seasoned pro in one way or another. You know what I mean? Even if it's past experience from, a while back, most people want to know that you're respected for your expertise. Even if you're just getting back in the game, like, oh yeah, I used to do AC back in the day, and now I'm getting back into it. Or I used to sell cars, or even better, I used to work on cars. I love buying a car from someone who has worked on cars or can tell me something about a car, because I don't know about it. And if you tell me that you're a mechanic and you saw a car, like, oh yeah, they have a lot of problems, like, I'm not buying that shit. I'm trusting you because you've been under the hood. So you would be recognized in that point as an authority in your industry. So think about how you could be an authority. It may be in ways that you don't even consider or know about. Like, maybe you had a summer job at one time that you had to, go through certain things, and you're like, that really set me up for this job, and that's something that, an experience you could share with your customer. They really don't care about your story. They care about anything relevant to your product, and that is something that people fail in qualifying. They'll just talk about the price of tea in China. They'll talk about whatever, thinking that they're building rapport, and the customer is becoming bored, and they're just becoming a buddy with you. They're just becoming your friend, and the more friendly that you are, the easier it's going to be to just tell no, really. Like, how easy is it to tell your friends, like, hey, we're going to go out this weekend? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we're going to go out this weekend. That's a fake yes. And somebody who's your buddy will give you a fake yes all day long because you're buddies, right? So you got to know customer behavior, right? There are 3 personality types that are really prevalent in the world, and 3 really from primal instinct. And we'll go over them a little bit later, but 30% of people are buyers. They're ready to make a purchase. 30% are on the fence and considering options before deciding, and that's why most salespeople have a 30% closing ratio. And they're like, oh yeah, I have a great closing ratio. I close 30%. Oh, that's good. That's 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 is great. If you do 3 out of 10 in the major leagues, you make millions. You make millions of dollars a year. To hit the ball 3 out of 10 times. That's considered an impressive batting average. And then 30% are on the fence. You've got to learn how to close those people. That is you're having your cake and eating it too. This one's just having your cake, right? And this is eating it too. You buy the cake, but you don't buy enough for you. Your family eats it, or your friends eat it, and you're stuck, and you may move up a little bit. But this is the one. People who are on the fence, considering options. People who are always considering options. That is the biggest objection that you're going to get in the end after you overcome all other objections. That's the easiest one to say, oh, yeah, I'm just thinking about it. I was just thinking about it. They always want to be just thinking about it. And you've got to have ways of getting over that. And then 30% are kicking tires, exploring but not committed. They're not even, really interested. They're just walking onto the lot, whatever. These guys were thinking about it maybe at one point. And these guys, they're interested. And maybe their car broke down. They need a new car. Their AC broke down. That's 30% of people. These people, they don't really need an AC, but it's kind of old. Their car's kind of old. They don't really need a new one, but hey, maybe they're in, on the car lot. And these people, they have a pretty new car. They don't really need a new one, and they have a new AC. They're not really interested. And these people have brand new of everything. They never intend to buy. Those are also just complete assholes. There's a lot of those in the world. And there's a lot of adages for people. Buyers are liars and things like that. So, just remember that buyers are liars. And remember that lies stands for limited ideas accepted. A lie is a what is it? Oh no, it's an excuse. Is a lie with a thin skin of the truth. Thin skin of a truth. But it just is what it is. That's what you're gonna really run into. Most months, most weeks, is that breakdown of people. So fail forward fast, grow and learn, embrace your mistakes. Failure is not permanent, but a stepping towards success always, right? So, and then after you fail, don't go back into the next sale thinking, oh man, I failed that last one. I'm going to fail this one. I am such a failure. This is just, this is just the worst. Take risks, learn from failures, and move forward with resilience, right? Your book this week, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Even when life is difficult or challenging, especially when life is difficult or challenging, the present is always an opportunity for us to learn, grow, and become better than you've ever been before. So this week, identify all of the features, benefits, and advantages of your product, service, or idea. When you did last week, your customer, your ideal customer, what are you selling them? Right? Identify those which appeal to all customers. There are people that, if your product, service, or idea, if there's nothing universal, if there's nothing about it that could appeal to literally anybody in the world in some way or another, you may need to, rethink your inks and rethink the product that you're selling. Because in the end, it should go, to just about anybody should be able to benefit from it in some way or another. And even if it's like a man or a woman. You know, like, oh, my product is specifically for women. Like, okay, cool. Like, it's for women then. Like, that makes sense. But universally, you know, how does it help women? You know, think about the features, the benefits, and advantages, and look up the definition of those if you need to. You know, a feature is something, you know, that it does. A benefit is something that you get from it. Like, you know, water, you can drink it and it keeps you alive, and that's an advantage because you get to keep living a long time. So, you know, selling water is really easy. You know, a car, right, has got, you know, bells and whistles and rickety-racketa, and it goes 0 to 60 in 10 seconds. Benefit, you get to work faster. And the advantage of that is that you're never late, you're always early, and you get a promotion at work. That's how you sell that shit. And then universally, so, and which ones can be saved? Used to make a presentation tailored to your customers' needs. What are those little bits and pieces, the niches that you can, you know, when somebody comes in and they're a soccer mom, you know, sell them a van. A guy comes in and he rides in on a motorcycle. Sell him a van or a truck. He can put his motorcycle in the back and he can go out, you know, that weekend or whatever. So, and exercise 2, you need a statement declaring your unwavering commitment to achieving your goals, no matter what obstacles may arise. Sign and date this statement and keep it somewhere visible as a reminder of your dedication to success. Les Brown is well known for his quote, "It's not over until I win." Love Les Brown. That's a great quote. Of course, it's not over until I win. He's got some other ones too, but you know, great information there. So write down your mission statement either here or on this next page. And then number 3, identify an accountability buddy. You need an accountability buddy, a partner, friend, family member, mentor who can you know, hold you accountable. Share your goals with them intimately. Your, you know, deep goals. You know, this should be your partner, somebody that you can confide in. Don't make this the you know, lady at Subway. You know, I used to work at Subway and people used to come in and like make me their therapist, and it was hilarious, but I was very good. People used to come in. I had a very regular clientele. So set up regular check-ins, you know, update them on your progress, and hold yourself accountable. Record your notes